joint statement that is to be announced any time now. 1:30 was the designated time, and we already see delegations on both sides come together to release that press statement. Geeta.
The delegation is out, which means they're just waiting for the leadership, that being Prime Minister Narendra Modi, European Union Commissioner and Chief Ursula von der Leyen, and the European Council President António Costa. So the three podiums that you see are all set for the leadership to arrive. The delegation has already come into the hall and which means that in moments from now, the leaders are really going to come out and deliver their opening remarks to the press on what this deal is, which basically means announcement of the conclusion of the free trade agreement between India and the European Union. You can see their conversation, an animated conversation between the European delegation, Safovich, and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri right behind him. They're all waiting for Prime Minister Modi, Ursula von der Leyen and António Costa to come into the hall for that press statement. We are also looking at the Principal Secretary, officials from the Indian side having an animated conversation just ahead of that announcement. All of them in their body language look quite relaxed and pleased, so they do know that they've done their job well, and it's only a matter of time for them to really come. For the leadership to come and announce the conclusion of this trade deal. But like I said, there's a lot of legal scrubbing that will happen after the announcement, and there are some aspects that still are to be discussed and ironed out. So there are issues that will be ironed out, legalities that will be looked into, and a clearance that will be sought from the European Parliament, after which this free trade agreement will come into action. So a joint statement, press statements by Ursula von der Leyen, António Costa and host Prime Minister Narendra Modi. At this point in time, they're just waiting for the leadership to come out. This is an important one. That's Kaja Kallas again in a conversation with External Affairs Minister Jaishankar. Kaja Kallas, a very important person. You will be listening to her in an exclusive conversation with India Today in a while from now. But she is the one who negotiated the defense and strategic partnership agreement between India and the European Union. That was a conversation that took place between Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and High Representative Kaja Kallas. Hervé Delphin is the ambassador of European Union to India. He's there with Dr. Jaishankar and Kaja Kallas, again in conversation, maybe explaining the last bits of what is to happen. But then this is a very important one. Tariffs being cut on various things across sectors, and trade becoming smoother and more hassle-free between India and the European Union that consists of 27 member states. It's massive, it's huge. Again, we'll have to wait and see how European Union is going to react to the conclusion of the trade deal and the legal scrubbing of the trade deal, because should there be concerns, should there be pressure from the United States of America, will there be other member states or some member states who will raise concerns? These are issues that we'll have to wait and see as to what's going to happen. But for now, we do know that while we're watching these visuals, DC also is closely monitoring these visuals. So must be the embassy over here, closely monitoring the visuals. They will be reading every bit of that text that will be out. The joint statement, so to say, between India and the European Union will come out much later. For now, these are press statements by the leadership on what was discussed, and basically touch upon how the two sides are going to go forward, what this means for the two sides, and how important it is at a time when the world is going through not just crises after crisis, but the fact that there is a lot of upheaval when it comes to economy, global economy, and how geopolitics has now completely intertwined or is intertwined by various leaders with geopolitics, and with decisions that have to do with politics more and strategic more than plain and simple trade. So weaponization of trade and tariff, in simple words, is the reason why we're looking at India and various European countries looking at alternatives. Supply chain resilience becoming one of the most important conversations that have taken place since the COVID-19 pandemic. Earlier, it was about how to counter China and create a resilient supply chain, irrespective of whether China is in the fray or not. And now it has moved from that to the uncertainties that we see because of the United States of America, and how the resilient supply chain has to do not just with a counter to China, but also bringing China in to create alternative spaces where trade tariffs do not impact market economies, especially developing market economies such as India. So India needs that breathing room, that space, and in order to have that space and that breathing room, it needs to engage various countries, particularly the developed bloc, and in that European Union stands at the top. So yes, Ursula von der Leyen is right in saying that this is the mother of all deals, because it's not a bilateral one-on-one between one country and the other. It's India striking a deal with 27 countries in one go.
Oh yes, absolutely. And like you mentioned, the crisis and how resilient this partnership will be is where all eyes are. But even as since this morning, Geeta, we continue to explain to our viewers what this pact really means. What are the benefits that will trickle down both on India and EU? Which are the sectors that are to benefit the most? So like a short while ago, we were telling you how cars are to get cheaper and what this means for Indian buyers. Yes, that is the biggest impact, especially on premium and luxury cars. Fully imported models that are to get direct price relief. Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Porsche, Volvo, Volkswagen are all to benefit from this trade deal. There will be limited impact, of course, on mass market cars, but like we said, that the luxury segment, that is to see the biggest benefit. Now, most models that are already made in India. However, we also understand that there will be no relief for electric cars as of now. But we continue to stay with those pictures as the press statement, the designated time for which is 1:30 p.m. I also want to go back to my colleague Chetan Putani, who's back with us on the broadcast. Chetan, the one point that we've been trying to get to of how cars are set to get cheaper, especially luxury cars, and Indian buyers who see those high import duties, those taxes that are levied on them when they're out there to buy a Mercedes or a BMW or a Porsche. So that is set to get cheaper, but electric cars won't really see this benefit.
See, very crucial for our viewers to understand that, with the announcement of this particular trade agreement with the European Union, the cars will not immediately get cheaper. In fact, when we see when the government is likely to reduce duties at 110% of a completely built unit, not manufactured in India, but manufactured in the EU,